All right, this is gonna sound harsh, but if you truly wanna become successful, you gotta cut out all your old friends. What's going on, guys? My name is Jaime Behar. Thank you back for coming back to my channel. Before I even get started, please like the video, subscribe. I'm gonna be posting every single week. I'm gonna be dropping a ton of gems that I believe have helped me and can potentially help you build a 7 and even an 8-figure company based off all of these simple tactics that I have implemented in my personal life. So here's the thing, becoming successful requires you to do a lot of things that most people aren't willing to do, right? And that's just the truth. I suffer through that a lot. Till this day, there's still things that I go through on my day-to-day basis that I know I need to change, and I struggle with changing because it's just out of my comfort zone, right? But especially when you're starting off at the very beginning and you're trying to start just your first business, there is so many things that you have to change as a person to really get you going. Your habits on its own are things that are probably the hardest thing to implement within your day-to-day life to be able to make a change, right? If you are doing all the things that aren't characteristics of what a successful person is, chances are you're probably not gonna be successful, right? There's a ton of people out there who've gone against the grain and been able to make it happen. But the truth is, majority of the people who have made it happen tend to be on the other side, right? So it all depends on what your path is, what kind of things you're doing. Give you a perfect example, basketball players, right? There's a lot of stories that you hear around all the time where basketball players become successful, make it to the NBA, make a ton of money, but they still have a lot of their old friends hanging around with them. And truth be told, that always ends up affecting them in one way or another financially, right? Or maybe in other things. So when you're growing as a person, you're always changing, right? That's just the truth. You're always changing. You're having to change your personal characteristics, things that you never think were a bad thing. And really, like, the reason why you're changing all those things is because in order to keep elevating to a different level, you have to keep changing yourself. And the easiest thing that I found for me to help you scale to the next level is always removing the waste or the distraction in front of you, right? And as harsh as that sounds, is one of those main things is the people around you, your friends, your family. I dealt with that. It was so difficult for me to work through that as I was growing in business that honestly, I felt bad. I truly felt bad knowing that my family, my cousins, my best friends that I grew up with were really just a distraction in my life, right? They were honestly giving me no value other than a laugh, right? A friendship. But to truly become successful in what I envisioned to be success, none of that was on the table. I personally grew up with a huge family. I'm 100% Mexican. My mom has 11 brothers and sisters. My dad has 9 brothers and sisters. I have probably over 100 cousins, right? A lot of them are in Mexico, a lot of them are here. And it's a Mexican tradition to always be hanging out with your family, right? You see them every single weekend, you go to every single party. They like to drink, they like to party. Don't get me wrong, I learned to love to party and I learned to love to drink. But I also knew as I was growing up that something was off. Something just wasn't clicking. In my head, I always knew that I was meant to become successful financially. And it's as if I felt like I was destined for it, right? It was just my calling. And although I'm not where I need to be yet, right? At the time, back then, I would always think about these thoughts, right? I wasn't there yet, but these thoughts were always there, and I would always think and ask myself, I'm like, okay, why am I not there yet? Why am I not doing the things I know I need to do? Even the simple things, right? Obviously, there was a lot I didn't know 10 years ago. There was a lot of things I didn't know 5 years ago. But there was simple things that you as a person can start applying now to help you reach those goals. And those simple things are simply just maybe not even drinking alcohol on the weekends or even permanently, right? I couldn't even not do that. The issue with that was a lot of my best friends love to drink as well. They love to party. And I felt like I was trapped in a revolving wheel as if I was a hamster, right? I was partying every single weekend, going out Friday nights, Saturday nights, getting drunk, waking up in the middle of the day on the weekend, maybe eating, hanging out with my girlfriend at the time, and then there goes another weekend, right? I'm still recovering from a hangover. Monday comes back around and I gotta go back to work. And what people don't realize that the weekend is one of the biggest separators in business, especially when you have a job. There is just no way, and it's very difficult to get even further ahead and separate from your competition if you're getting drunk on the weekend, right? And the funny thing is that I knew this for years, and yet it took me years to realize I needed to get out. I felt like I might have gone 1 or 3 years where I started having these thoughts really hard, to the point where I would go out and party and I would think to myself, 12 in the morning, at a friend's house or something, and I'd be thinking like, what am I doing here? Like, I should not be here. Like, there is no way that being here is gonna get me to where I'm trying to get. I love my friends. I know they mean good, but our visions just didn't align anymore. And I had to make a decision. So I honestly just cut everybody cold turkey. I stopped going out. I started avoiding, and not avoiding in the sense where I ignore them, but just simply saying like, hey, I can't make it today. Hey, I can't make it today. And I think one of the major reasons why people tend to not take that leap, right? Even with family, right? A lot of people love hanging out with family, with your parents, or maybe they have kids or their pets, or again, maybe people don't even drink, they're just hanging out on the weekend. It is very difficult to stop that. And part of the reason why I believe it's difficult is because most of us feel as if we owe them something, right? They make us feel bad because we're not there, and we feel like we have to be there. And the truth is, you don't owe anybody anything. You're gonna die 60 years from now, they're gonna feel bad for you, and then they're gonna move on. It doesn't really matter, right? So the faster you realize that it does not matter what they think, and the faster you realize that if they're truly your friends and your family and they truly love you, which is what I did, nothing will change. Luckily for me, I was able to do that, 3, 4, 5 years passed by, and my friends still love me the same way. I disappeared for a year, I came back, I partied with them, it's like as if nothing changed. Luckily, I had good friends that didn't make me feel bad. Literally, they never made me feel bad, right? And that's one thing I realized. I used to think about that all the time, like, oh, they're gonna make fun of me, they're gonna tell me that I should be hanging out with them. And honestly, nobody ever made fun of me. And I think a lot of you guys will probably end up realizing that your family might not even actually be making fun of you. Maybe it's just yourself. Maybe it's just you thinking, creating more obstacles in your brain on how and why you're not gonna get there, or why you can't get there. When simply all you gotta do is make a decision. It's that easy. The faster you realize that, the faster you know you have to make that leap, the faster you will get to your goals, right? I'm also not saying that the minute you cut your friends out, you're gonna make a lot of money, or you're gonna become the next big thing, but it will keep you aligned, it will keep you focused, and at the end of the day, everything in life is about compounding. The more you compound, and if you guys understand how compounding works, it just keeps going and going, and it keeps growing faster and faster and faster. And that's just the same thing with our habits that we do on a day-to-day basis. It's the same thing with the amount of hours you put into your job, the amount of hours you put into your business, the amount of hours you put into school, right? If you are somebody who never studies, for example, right? And you're just kind of push the homework to the side, and then out of nowhere you're like, okay, I gotta start doing homework. I need to start studying. This doesn't make any sense. I don't want to fail. You start reading the first page of a book, none of it's gonna make sense. Just a fact. That's not gonna make sense, right? But if you just start reading a page a day, 2 pages a day, 3 pages a day, you just start building that momentum. Things start becoming easier. You start understanding things faster to the point where like you don't even want to stop anymore. And that's just the same thing with business. But in order to first get there, you have to remove all obstacles. For me, it was my friends. That was the first thing I had to do. I removed my friends, I removed my family, and I'm telling you, my life started changing. Not immediate, but over time, it was very, very noticeable, to the point that I knew that if I didn't make those changes, currently what I do now, there's no way that I'd be able to do. I'll give you guys another example, losing weight. That's probably one of the hardest things that people claim that they can't accomplish, right? Oh, I don't know how to lose weight. I don't know what I have to do. What should I be eating? I need to hire a coach. Honestly, you're kind of just making things up, right? It's pretty simple. We all know what we got to do is you just got to stop eating junk, right? That's the easiest way to do it, right? There's many methods of doing it. You can track your calories. You can follow a paleo diet, a low carb diet, whatever. Like all the diets work, right? But at the end of the day, you have to do them and you have to follow it. And if you follow that game plan, the game plan will work. What is the simplest way to follow a diet? Just don't have the food in your house, right? It sounds crazy, but I guarantee you, if you don't go out and eat, right? It might sound a little depressing, but if you don't go out and eat and you just stay home and you have nothing but the food that you purchase and you have no distractions of things that you should not be eating, I almost guarantee you that you will lose weight, right? Why? Because the distractions aren't there. Sometimes removing the distractions is the best thing to do. Obviously, you don't want to live in a world where you have to remove certain obstacles to be able to accomplish certain things. Eventually though, you will be able to accomplish those things with the obstacles in place, right? I'll give you an example of going back to my friends. Till this day right now, I can choose to go out tonight. I will party, I will drink, I will get drunk, and I will get back to work on Saturday, right? I am able to shift back into that mindset because it's all about training your brain, training your mind, and rewiring on what has to get done. When you've gone 10 to 20 years of hanging out with your family on the weekends or partying with your friends every single weekend, Your brain is wired to work 9 to 5, come home, watch TV, party on the weekends, and then repeat again, and repeat again, and repeat again, and repeat again. If you just keep repeating the same cycle for years, it is a very hard habit to break. So you have to rewire your brain and change that habit to then make it easy. So if you shift away from that and partying, and then you're getting away from your friends and you're focusing on your business or on school or whatever that is, you're gonna create massive strides in what you're building, and you're also gonna create massive habits, right? After creating the habits, you're gonna start accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish, and things are gonna get easier, right? Things get easier when they become a habit. Now, when that becomes a habit, it gets easier. You are now able to get out of that mindset, get out of that bubble that you put yourself in to be able to accomplish things, get out of it, and you'll be able to get back in. Why? Because it's a habit now, right? When in the past, you would go out and party, hang out with your friends, and having to shift back into a phase that is not easy for you, that is not a current habit, is very difficult, right? It's two totally different worlds, and you haven't built the mindset and the wiring in your brain to be able to shift back and forth. And that is something that I had no idea that I even had to do, but I learned as I went. And that is probably the biggest tool that I think you guys can get out of this is you can do everything and anything you want, but you can't have it all at the same time. It all takes time. Everything is a habit. More things become a habit, the easier they become. Literally, right? We can talk about somebody who reads. There's people who read a book a day, right? And there's other people who read one book a year. If you try and ask that person to read a book in a day, they'll probably go crazy because there's just no way that they can sit there and read that long. Their brain's not wired that way to be able to sit there that long and keep reading for that long. But I guarantee you, if you know somebody out there who reads a book a week and has been doing it for 5 years and they stop for 6 months, they can very easily come back to doing so. So same thing with friends, right? You cut them out, you focus on what you gotta do, and I guarantee you that you will be a lot closer to your goals than if you did not do that. Continuing to hang out with your friends when you're trying to build a company, it's something you've never done before, you're actually doing a disservice to yourself and to them, right? If you're hanging out with them knowing that you shouldn't be there, you're clearly not present, right? You're not really providing them any value anymore, right? You're not being present with them, you're not having fun, you're not joking with them, you're not drinking with them, or whatever you guys are doing, right? Maybe some of you guys don't drink, maybe you play video games, but clearly you're not there. You're not providing them value because you're just not present, right? You know you need to be somewhere else, and vice versa, right? You're having these thoughts, you're half there because you know hanging out with them is not giving you any value back in return, right? You know the things that you want to accomplish, and your friends are clearly not where you would want to be. So there's a high likelihood that they're not going to have anything to share with you that's going to help you accomplish that. So the faster you realize that, and the faster you get yourself out, you can then find other friends who can add that value back into your life and potentially maybe even do the same type of stuff, right? And this also doesn't mean that you're having to cut your friends forever. You're never gonna hang out with them. Like I said, I can now to this day, randomly out of nowhere, go hang out with my friends, go party, and it's like things never changed, right? Next day comes back and I go back to my normal life. Like nothing changed. Everybody's goals are different, and I believe depending on what you're trying to accomplish or where you're trying to get, people to a certain degree become transactional, right? If the value of what you need in order to get to your next goal is not within the people that are around you, then chances are you're not gonna get there, right? So again, depending on what your goals really are, depending on how high you wanna climb that ladder, you're gonna have to continue changing as a person, and you're gonna have to continue changing your environment, continuously learn more things in order to keep growing to the next phase of your life. Primarily, if we factor this back in with just making more money, the same person that was making $10,000 a month cannot be the same person that's making $100,000 a month, which is also not the same person that is making $1 million a month. You have to change and you have to adapt to be able to become that next person that you want to become. So whether that be learning a new skill or whether that be finding new friends, right? And again, this does not mean your friends are gone forever. This just means that in this current phase of your life, you need new people around you that not only will they feed into you to help you grow, but you're also gonna feed back into them and help them grow. When I finally decided that I needed to make a change and stop hanging out with my friends and cut them out, I honestly probably didn't do the best way that I recommend you should have. I honestly kind of ghosted them. So, weekends would come by, they would say, let's go hang out, let's go drink, let's go eat. And I would just say, hey, I can't today. Hey, I can't today. Hey, I can't today. And luckily for me, again, they didn't get mad at me. They were never upset. They never called me out. They never make me feel bad. But if you're somebody who's struggling with that, and that's the aspect that is holding you back from pursuing your goals, simply just go up to them and talk to them. Just be like, hey guys, can we hang out? Or girls, I want to tell you something. You know, you don't have to talk to everybody all at once. You can talk to them one-on-one. For all you know, they're probably going to be super supportive, right? You can probably even just bring it up like, hey, I'm kind of thinking of starting a YouTube channel. What do you think? Or hey, what do you think about people who create YouTube channels, right? Kind of bringing up the idea, see what their thoughts are. You're most likely going to realize the majority of people will back you up, right? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people out there that will, you know, make fun of you, that unmotivate you, tell you not to do it. I'll tell you like, oh, you know, it's probably going to be too difficult. You know, if that's the case, then you'll really know all you need to know. You'll know that you are hanging out with people who aren't thinking as big as you. And if anything, hopefully it'll make it easier for you. So you shouldn't be scared, even if people tend to think that way. Because again, if they're truly your friends and they're truly your family, they will always be there no matter what. And I can speak honestly from that luckily, everybody who was always in my life as I was growing up, from teenager all the way up to my mid-20s, to this day, I can call them up and hang out with them. Nobody will ever say no to me. And I could probably say that I'm lucky and blessed to be able to say that, but I'm also very confident that there's a lot of you out there who can do the exact same thing. Most people aren't as bad as we think they are. It's really just all in our heads. The other way to look at this is that our friends or family are kind of like TV shows in a sense, right? There's seasons to it. Not everybody is gonna be around forever. Not everybody is gonna be around every single day. Your friends will always be there. Your parents will always be there. Your parents are gonna disappear, right? But chances are your parents probably will stop providing some type of value in your growth, again, depending on what that goal is. So if you're somebody who's struggling, trying to figure out what I should be doing, double guessing yourself, chances are that the people that are around you are the reasons why you're double guessing yourself, why you're hesitating, and why you're not moving forward. Pretty simple to do. Cut your friends out, and I guarantee you, your life will grow a lot faster. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Please like the video, subscribe. I'll be dropping videos every single week, sharing everything I've learned on how to build multiple 7-figure companies and hopefully 8-figure soon. If you have any questions and you want to learn more about how to partner with us, please click the link below and book a call. See you guys later.